Well, after close to a decade of waiting, we have finally received a book with all the information about Barack Obama. It might have been good to know before he was elected president. The book is called Rising Star. It is an exhaustive 1,000-page look at the former president's life prior to being elected. David Garrow is the book's author, and he joins us now. Mr. Garrow, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
So the question is, I guess there are many questions, but you found material in this book not previously uncovered during his entire presidency, his years in the Senate, the fact he was the subject of a number of books. Why did it take you to find this?
It's remarkable, Tucker, that someone could twice be elected president of the United States, serve 8 years, and huge pieces of his earlier life remained undiscovered. And it's not just a girlfriend. It's his closest intellectual companion, his closest friend from Harvard Law School, the person who actually helped edit his autobiographical memoir, Dreams from My Father. It's remarkable that journalists didn't do this basic legwork back in 2007, 2008.
Now, in the book, you say that the former president reached out during the course of his political career to a number of people who might have given interviews and leaned on them not to talk to journalists because it might hurt him. Do you think that was part of the problem?
The Barack Obama from 1985 to 2002 in Illinois was a wonderful progressive politician. I'm a progressive Democrat myself.
Yes.
But the Barack Obama that we saw in the White House, whom we see nowadays, is a fundamentally different person from who he was in the 1990s. And it's that intellectual and political evolution that is what this book really discovers and captures.
So I know that you're a man of the left, and I've always thought of you that way. And with that in mind, I was struck by the epilogue to the book, the 40 or 60 pages at the end, where you sum up what you've learned about President Obama, and I think it's fair to call it very negative, very tough on him. Are those judgments that you made after collecting all the evidence, and were you surprised to reach that conclusion?
I was surprised at how the Obama presidency turned out, and it is a critical epilogue from the perspective of a progressive Democrat. When Barack was in Illinois, he was an outspoken proponent of single-payer health coverage, an outspoken critic of the Patriot Act and the intelligence community and the CIA. So the Obama that we have seen as president has been a dramatically different person. Up through 2002, Barack lived a very modest, humble, middle-class life. Now here we are in 2017, and we see him hobnobbing with celebrities and musicians and billionaires, getting $400,000 a speech. He's a very different person today from whom he was from 1985 through 2002, and that's what this book explains.
So I think it's fair to say you've looked at him more closely than any living person, perhaps other than his wife. And you reached the conclusion in the epilogue that he is, and I think I'm quoting pretty much more or less exactly what you wrote, a hollow man, that you're not sure what's at the center of him.
As a progressive Democrat, I'm disturbed and perplexed that he has changed so dramatically over the last 15 years. We look at his record back in Illinois in the 1990s up through 2002, you would think we knew who he was, but he has turned out to be a different person than we would have projected.
Do you think he's a good person?
He was certainly a very good person from 1985 till 2002, but the desire to succeed, the desire to win, the need to become president changed him, fundamentally changed him, and that to me is a fundamentally sad story.
You write that Michelle Obama was not his first choice for a wife. Explain the criteria he used to make that decision on who to marry.
From 1986 through 1991, Barack had a very intense, important formative relationship with a woman who was half Dutch, half Japanese, a wonderful woman who, like myself, is an academic, a scholar. Journalists never discovered her back in 2007, 2008, though anyone could have by walking into the library at the University of Chicago and looking who else lived at Barack's address. But it's not just her. His closest friend in law school, Rob, who helped him write and edit and hone Dreams from My Father. There are these formative people in Barack's early life whom American journalism failed to discover for years.
But it seems like at key points in his life, Obama made decisions that were not human decisions. He seemed to make decisions based on political calculation going back a long time, including on who he married. And there's a coldness, and I'm not being political in this. I mean, that's really what comes out in your pages, a coldness at the center of the guy that's really striking.
I think there is an ambition, a deep, profound political ambition, which Barack articulated as early as 1987 to the people with whom he was closest then. And that ambition was a formative part of his life. His joining Jeremiah Wright's Trinity United Church of Christ was a part of that too.
So last question, you say you describe yourself as a progressive, as a liberal, as a man on the left. The New York Times just attacked your book savagely in a review, and their main problem appeared to be that you criticized Saint Obama at the end of your book. Now, given that your book has this critical assessment at its end, are you surprised that the left can't deal with that, apparently?
I think in today's culture, in today's politics, Tucker, unfortunately, we sometimes see partisanship trumping, a verb I like, trumping professionalism. I'm an academic, a scholar, a historian. It's sad that the New York Times gives in to partisan fervor, but I'm playing a long game. I'm a scholar, and this book will be the authoritative account of Barack Obama's pre-presidential life, I believe, for decades to come.
That is without question true, and good for you for doing all the work required to produce it. David, thank you.
Thank you, Tucker.